sharing a birthday with Hillary Clinton. And I'm pleased to announce, ladies and gentlemen, that the United States might actually provide for you a war that we can win. After all, the United States of America does only seem to win world wars. So we've had this massive news, and we're going to get into more of the details. Bak has prepared some clips. I heard about it from Bak for the first time today, actually just moments ago, during the members-only stream, an hour before this show began on chasegeiser.com. You can sign up for free or pay if you want to support the network and watch for an hour before every show. But he told me that the NSA has announced through contracts, is that right, Bak?
Correct.
Through contracts, massive conscription simulations nationwide here in the United States. Hiring contractors, they want to run simulations to see how the populace will respond to conscription. This all comes in the context, of course, of the conflict that we're having in Iran and the conflict that we're having in Ukraine and the conflict that we're having between Taiwan and China and the conflicts that we're having with Cuba and the conflicts that we're having with Venezuela and the conflicts that we're having with every country seemingly all over the entire globe constantly because we've become the new Roman Empire. But not just in the context of the military conflicts that we're in, because we're always in military conflicts. So what does that context even really matter? But do you remember, we showed this either last week or the week before, Secretary of War Peter Hegseth came out and said that all military personnel are going to be tested for their testosterone levels and treated accordingly. This comes stacked on the context of the fact that the United States of America has increased the eligible age of conscription to 42 years old. And so what they've decided to do is enlist or conscript older men for this conflict, which seems to be obviously looming, and then just juice them up with testosterone to make them operate as if they're younger soldiers. That's pretty much the ticket that I gather from it. We've got that all in the context of Lindsey Graham's just wonderful, beautiful funeral. Donald Trump said a couple of funny things. I don't know if we have the clip or not. It doesn't matter if we don't. He said he loved war, which was absolutely true. But they put him in the rotunda today, right? Which is supposed to be an incredible honor. Did we come to the conclusion of who the last person to have a funeral in the rotunda was?
I thought it was Charlie Kirk, but they passed legislation. Well, they tried to, and they
they buried him like right away.
Yeah.
They denied it.
I remember Reagan was in the rotunda, which most presidents, when they do get when they pass, I do believe they are.
They get that ticket. Yep. Yeah. So they put Lindsey Graham of all people in the rotunda. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. We're going to talk about what Alex Jones had to say about the pending military draft, these simulations, the latest developments in the Ukrainian conflict. Russia planning to recruit another 30,000 North Korean troops. Bak is probably not going to be with us much longer. Trump hosts Netanyahu and Zelensky. That was the big news of today. The UAE is basically being forced into the Abraham Accords in the form of its own Section 219. So, you know how the United States of America, its leaders at least, are so eager to merge U.S. intelligence with Israeli intelligence and make us codependent with the greatest ally any country has ever had, the only democracy in the region, in the name of our Judeo-Christian values. This is the rhetoric that we see around our just total compromise and submission to Israel. Now we're trying to force the UAE to do the same thing in exchange for enrichment rights for uranium. So we've got the UAE trying to enrich uranium. We've got massive nuclear proliferation taking place. We've got a war that seems to never end, that we've won countless dozens of times. We've got conscription until you're 42 years old. We've got testosterone tests to super enhance our older soldiers to perform like younger soldiers. And in addition to all that, we've got the NSA coming out and announcing nationwide conscription simulations. It's so funny to me that they would do these simulations, that they would contract big tech, AI, whatever, to do these simulations. When we know exactly how Americans feel about conscription, all you have to do is look at what happened during Vietnam. I believe there were 68,000 casualties during that conflict. Relatively small number compared to the 250,000 casualties that were in World War II from the United States of America. Just about 25% as bloody of a conflict for Americans, but the outrage was all but universal. And I can't imagine that the NSA, the CIA, the Department of Defense, the Secretary of War, any member of this administration, I can't imagine that they could possibly or would possibly think that a conflict with a military draft in the Middle East would be accepted. After all, if it's an abundantly popular cause, why is it that you have to draft people against their will to participate in this conflict? So we're going to be getting into all those details, but these are dark times, and I know people have been holding signs on street corners for thousands of years saying the end is nigh, but every time they held those signs, they were right. When they held them in Greece, they were right. The city-states of Greece fell. When they held them in Rome, they were right. Rome fell. When they held them in Britain before the Saxons took over, they were right. They fell. When they held them in Berlin, they were right. They fell. But people think there's going to be some ultimate end, and maybe there will be. You have to ask God about that and those details, as we seem to argue the various interpretations of such a climax. But one thing is for sure, our species has been riddled ever since it began walking on the face of this planet with ends and beginnings and ends and beginnings and ends and beginnings. And it feels a hell of a lot like Act 3 for America to me. It feels like we're coming up on the end. And I guess that lines up directly with the fourth turning. I just hope that we survive the turmoil we're about ready to face so that we can experience, endure, and frankly enjoy the rebirth that comes after every decimation. Bak, your turn.
If they come to draft me, I'm going to hit them with this song. I am down for the TRT, but I ain't down for World War III. And then you'll see me in a camp.
Oh my gosh. You're a lunatic, Bacchus.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into these clips. Let's play military draft.
The world is watching whether it will act on its
beautiful,
commitments.
though.
Iran says it has closed the Strait of Hormuz for now. The U.S. military will automatically register eligible men for the Selective Service draft system.
My hair was made in a factory.
They say the change is part of a broader effort to strengthen national defense by ensuring
Russians
the country can
dropped
quickly expand
white
its
phosphorus
armed
on my
forces
hair.
if needed. The automatic registration will be in place by December. This affects eligible men, that's ages 18 to 25. Women are exempt from registering.
It's 18 to 42,
military service has been optional since 1973, and the last time the U.S. had a draft was the Vietnam War.
No, so the automatic registration is for up to 25.
Oh.
But the who can be eligible to be drafted was raised to 42.
I see. Okay. Well, there you have it. But we knew that, right? That automatic registration was starting.
Well, I made an X post about this. You can really see why the data centers are up. You can see why the flock infrastructure and the Axon coming in after that, that's harder to take down, is going up all over the place.